turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
Live from Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness to our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get that absolutely delicious yet free dessert with your meal. By Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at coachescollectiblesny.com. And stay tuned later in the show. Find out about some upcoming Coaches Collectibles events and also the Coaches Collectibles item of the week. And by the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. Tonight is a very exciting night for the foundation. It's their annual gala, so looking forward to that. And you can get more information by going to martylyonsfoundation.org. Hi again, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're following Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And make sure you are subscribing to Govs Comedy Club Podcast on YouTube and Facebook. And now Sports Bash, of course, is also available on Apple Music and Spotify. We've got a great show coming up today, something I've been looking forward to now for a couple of weeks. And because of the technical issues, we had to delay it a couple of times. But I'm going to be joined by former Islanders defenseman Dave Langevin, who was a member of all four Islander Stanley Cup championship teams. And if you're an Islander fan of my age or in that area and you lived through the Stanley Cup dynasty, obviously when you look up at the rafters now, you see the big names. you see Potvin, you see Bossi, you see Trache and Billy Smith and Clark Gillies and Tonelli and Goring and all those guys that are up in the rafters, and even those players that don't have their numbers retired but are in the Islanders Hall of Fame. And those names are synonymous with the Islanders Stanley Cup Championship dynasty. But if you're a fan of the Islanders and you're of my age, and I'm 58, so if you lived through the dynasty, you know that there were some very, very underrated players on that team. And a guy like Anders Kaller comes to mind as well. And, Thomas Janssen, also Stefan Pearson. And Dave Langevin is certainly in that grouping. And he was a rock on the Islanders' blue line during that Stanley Cup run. And he does not do a lot of interviews. So we are very, very fortunate and very happy that he is coming on with us. So we're very much looking forward to doing that in about 20 minutes or so. We are also going to be talking about a pretty special event that's going to be coming to Riverhead this weekend. It is the We Huddle to Help flag football game. It's going to take place at Stotsky Park in Riverhead. We're going to be joined by singer Mark McLaughlin, along with former NFL player and Long Island native Gary Brown. They're going to be part of that game on Saturday at Stotsky Park. I know News 12 is going to be a big sponsor of that game, so we're going to talk to both Mark and Gary about that a little bit later on the show. We'll also have What's Hot at TicketBash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we'll also check out the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. Before I get to sports, I'm going to start out with this little thing I like to call Penny for Your Thoughts. So I settle in like I usually do every morning with my wife, and we go back and forth between Boomer and Geo and the Today Show. And we were watching the Today Show this morning, and I think my wife had either said something to me. I think Cheryl said something to me the other day about this, that she had heard it, or maybe I heard it somewhere else. So we're watching the Today Show this morning, and there's a story that comes up about how the penny is being discontinued. They're not going to make, they just made the last batch of pennies, and it's still going to stay in. You'll still be able to use a penny at the store, and you can get pennies back in return. But the mint is not going to be making pennies anymore, and I find that kind of both weird and sad at the same time. And I wanted to make sure I brought a penny with me to the show today just to say goodbye to it. Not that we're going to say, I don't know now, like if you go to a store and you buy something and it comes out to, $19.31, and you go looking through your pocket and you pull out the change. Now now I might be hesitant to use that penny because it's going to be an endangered species, so to speak. So, Tony, did you talk about the penny on Knock 'em Dead Comedy Show?
No.
You did not. By the way, Tony Walker, my producer and the host of the Knock 'em Dead Comedy Show, weekdays from 11 to 12:30. Are you as taken back by this news as I was? I was surprised by this.
Yes, I'm feeling the same way as you are. A little surprised, a little sad, and a little worried about the mess it's going to create because of all the stores and how they're going to adjust to this.
Well, how about like when you go buy gas? Like gas can be like $2.99, $7, whatever it is, $2.99.9. Again, anything that like in a store, like how many pennies now are you going to get back? Are you going to want to keep the pennies? Because especially when you go into like 7-Eleven and you go to pay for your big gulp, or at least I pay for my big gulp, and there's that little dish in front of the register. It says take a penny or leave a penny.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm leaving a penny anymore. I think I'm going to collect these pennies because, especially I have two of them here. One is a little more shiny. I don't know if this was the one I held up before, but this is a little bit more of a shinier one. So now I'm going to kind of I'm going to want to look for like nice shiny pennies and keep them in. Maybe I'll get like a little book and put the pennies into a book. But I was kind of saddened to hear that. And why? I don't understand the reasoning. Like they explained it. I think it saves the U.S. government some money by not doing it anymore. I don't know if I heard that correctly.
I think that is it. Yeah.
They're going to save some money, but like, how could you have U.S. currency without the penny? And again, I know it's still going to be in rotation. Like you could still use the pennies, but like to not make them anymore. It seems just kind of silly and sad. And the report on the Today Show, they, I can't remember the guy's name that did the piece, but he talked about doing eulogies on people and doing pieces on celebrities and famous people who passed away. And he was like basically doing a eulogy and a sad story about the penny going away. But I'm saddened by it. I'm gonna collect my pennies, especially the nice shiny ones. And I don't know, maybe they'll, depending on how old they are or which kind of penny it is. I don't know. These don't look to be any great shake. I think these are just standard pennies. What's on the back of that one? Oh, no, they're the same ones. Because I know there were some pennies that had different backs on them. But anyway, I found that sad. I wanted to make sure I talked about how much I love the penny, and I'm not going to let my pennies go. And I don't want to sound cheap about it, but I just don't want to lose out on, I don't want to ever not see a penny in my life again. So we have that to talk about. We got the Jets and Patriots tonight in Foxborough to kick off this week in the NFL, and the Jets on the short work week coming off their win, their second straight win this past Sunday. And as if it's not enough that it's a Jets-Patriots game, and the Patriots are off to a heck of a start this year in first place in the AFC East, and it's going to be a monumental task for the Jets to try and win this game in Foxborough, especially on a short week. But the bigger story around the Jets has been the constant squabble, battle, war of words, feistiness, whatever you want to call it, any adjective in the book, between Aaron Glenn, the head coach, and the Jets beat writers. And I have kind of a two-pronged reaction to this, because as both a Jets fan and as someone who covered the Jets for both the Fan and ESPN Radio and other places too, I kind of have this two-pronged approach to like the reaction. And I'm going to get to the Sports Bash Media poll question later in the show because I want to know what everybody else thinks about it. But there is this clash going on between Aaron Glenn and the beat writers, and a lot of it stems from the fact, when Justin Fields got benched as the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor came in to replace him in that second half of that game, and then became this mystery as to who the Jets starting quarterback was going to be in the next game. And it was, we found out Tyrod Taylor had an injury, and then became the start of this whole conflict where Aaron Glenn would not divulge who the starting quarterback was going to be in the next game, and that was the game against the Bengals right before the bye week, and it wound up still being Justin Fields. So that has continued now. So now Aaron Glenn is into this pattern of not wanting to disclose who the starting quarterback is, and he says he doesn't have to. He doesn't want to give the other team, a chance to prepare. And here's the other thing too. There's a saying in football: if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. So let's be honest. Justin Fields has not been great this year. We didn't have high expectations of him when the Jets signed him. And you have Tyrod Taylor, who's been a journeyman backup quarterback in the NFL. He started a few places, but he's for the most part been a predominantly a backup quarterback. So when you're going up against these other teams, it's not like you've got these two Hall of Fame quarterbacks that, oh my God, we're shaking it up. We don't know who's starting. Is it going to be Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor? Or maybe the Jets will even, do something crazy and draft and start the rookie, the undrafted quarterback from Missouri, Brady Cook. Like, oh my God, we don't know what we're going to do. Like, do you think the Patriots are shaking in their boots tonight? As to who? Now listen, I think we all pretty much know it's going to be Justin Fields because he's coming off of back-to-back wins. So I don't think Aaron Glenn is fooling anybody because he's going to get the start. But this combativeness is going back and forth between Aaron Glenn and the writers, and it came to an even bigger head the other day on Tuesday. This came a day after Garrett Wilson left Sunday's game with a knee injury. He's not going to play tonight. So Rich Cimini, who covers the Jets, he's covered the Jets for Newsday. He covered him for the Daily News, and now with ESPN. Now, he's probably the longest-standing Jet beat writer. He's been covering the Jets for years and years and years and years. And he reported on Monday that Garrett Wilson was going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. So on Tuesday, when Aaron Glenn meets the writers, he gives the Jets' official injury report, but then he's asked about Garrett Wilson and somebody else, and he then obviously he's upset that Rich Cimini broke the news about Garrett Wilson, and he goes, "Well, I'm going to refrain from talking about the injuries. If you guys want to talk about the injuries, ask Rich." He's not here today, but call him and ask him, because he went and reported stuff that didn't come out of my mouth yesterday, and the writers are trying to say to him, "Well, look, we want to hear it from you. You're the head coach." He goes, "Yeah, but I know. Ask Rich about it, because if he's going to report stuff, you can go ask him about the injuries." And it set off quite a debate amongst media people and Jet fans and everything. Like, what has Aaron Glenn done to treat the media like that? What has Aaron Glenn accomplished? Like, why is he starting a fight with reporters? And I get it. He's not happy because there was a leak in the building. And one of the things he tried to do when he came here to be the Jets coach is he wanted to stop the media leaks in the building. Because that's not healthy for teams when you've got when the reporters are getting a lot of information from people in the building. Coach and the GM, they want to shut that down. There's information that you don't want getting out. You don't want it getting out. So I can understand that Aaron Glenn was upset that Rich Cimini got that information. Now, don't take it out on him, because he's just doing his job. When you're a beat writer for a newspaper or a beat reporter, whether it's TV, radio, whatever it is, your job is to get scoops, man. Your job is to report to the public, "I found out about this." And it happens like when a guy signs a contract, you'll see somebody break the news. Sources say Joe Schmo has signed a 4-year, $100 million contract, and that will come out before the team even says it. So I get that Aaron Glenn was pissed off about this. I totally understand it. But don't take it out on Rich Cimini, and don't take it out on the other reporters. So in that case, I kind of feel like Aaron Glenn didn't have to go down that road. And then I thought to myself, before I bring this up, I've got to find out what the actual rule is. Because, the NFL teams, the league requires the teams to report an official injury status. Now, if you're playing on Sunday, the first injury report comes out on Wednesday, and you issue the injury reports on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If something happens on Saturday, you don't have to. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the teams have to issue an injury report. Now, in this case, this week, the Jets are playing tonight on Thursday, so it's a short work week, so they only have to produce that injury report on Tuesday, which is really the only official practice day. But I called a couple of people today, and I reached out to a couple of people. I wanted to make sure, is he under any obligation in his press conferences, Aaron Glenn I'm talking about, is he under any obligation to talk about it? And I found out he's not. So he's not breaking any rule. He's not breaking any NFL bylaw that the coach has to talk about it. And he's well within his rights not to talk about the injury if he does not want to. I'm just saying he is borderline, not even borderline, he is creating an adversarial relationship with the media. And that's up to him, because listen, there's going to be a point where if things really go south for Aaron Glenn, especially next year, because he's coming back next season, he's going to create an adversarial relationship where he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt from a lot of people in that press room. So, listen, if he turns this around and he starts winning and he wants to keep doing that, then he could be Teflon, because then who cares what the writers and the media say about him? He doesn't have to answer to them. But I just think, like, right now, it's like, again, the whole thing with the starting quarterback, like, you're not fooling anybody. Like, Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback. And when it comes to the injuries, like, do you really want to pick a fight with the media? I mean, it's just you can answer the question. Just say, Garrett Wilson, you don't even have to say what Rich Cimini reported. You could just say, well, he's not going to play this week. We're going to take things week by week. you don't have to have this like, oh my God, Rich Cimini was doing his job and now I'm pissed off. Like, he didn't need to do that. So I think he needs to calm down a little bit. But again, he's well within his right not to talk about it. I just think it's silly to start a fight with people who cover the team every single day. Before I take a break, and we're going to have Dave Langevin, former Islander, joining us after the break. Let me do this first before I get to what I want to talk about. I want to knock this out. What's hot at ticketbash.com. On the local sports calendar, Friday night, the Knicks host the Heat at the Garden. Saturday night, St. John's will host William & Mary at Carnesecca Arena. On Sunday, the Giants host the Packers while the Rangers host the Red Wings. Upcoming concerts and shows, Christmas Spectacular at Radio City Music Hall with the Rockettes now playing. Z100's Jingle Ball is coming up December 12th at the Garden. Stevie Nicks at Barclays Center November 19th. And the Jonas Brothers are at UBS Arena November 19th and December 21st. Get tickets to these events and more at the lowest prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. Before we go to the break, the local sports community, especially those who follow hockey, cover hockey, watch hockey, love the sport. We suffered a massive loss this morning. Larry Brooks, a longtime hockey writer for the New York Post, passed away this morning at the age of 75 after a very brief battle with cancer. And this really shook up a lot of people around the New York sports community and New Jersey as well, including myself. And I got to know Larry very, very well over the years. He was a gifted writer, an old school reporter, always carried that pad around. Now, reporters walk around with the cell phone and the little digital recorders. Larry always, all these years later, always had this little spiral notebook or whatever, or the small notebook that he would carry around. And he was a very kind man. He was very into his job. He was very, very diligent in covering teams he covered over the years, especially the Rangers, which was his predominant beat, especially in recent years. And remember, Larry also, early in his career in the 70s, he actually did some Islanders radio broadcasts with John Sterling. He would eventually become the New Jersey Devils vice president of communications, so he got the PR side of it too. He was on Devils broadcasts as well. Then he came back to his first love, and that was newspaper reporting and working for the Post and covering the Rangers. And he is a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame as a writer, and just an unbelievably great writer, a good person. I will always cherish the hockey conversations that I had with Larry at all the rinks in the area over the years. And then when the hockey season was over, he would go cover the Yankees and the U.S. Open. So you'd see him at other sporting events as well. Very, very kind, especially when I was younger and just starting out in the business. He was always, sometimes, especially writers. Some writers will have a little bit of an attitude, a little bit of a pompous feel. Like I had that with a lot of baseball writers when I was younger, like trying to, cover baseball games, and some writers didn't really treat, especially young reporters, and especially if you're carrying a microphone. Because back then, now you have writers are on TV and radio all the time. Back then, that wasn't the case. So I was given a hard time by a lot of newspaper writers, but Larry was not one of them. Larry was always generous with his time. I loved having conversations with him. So deepest condolences to Larry's Larry Brooks' family, his friends, and to everybody he touched over the years, covering hockey, being a fan of hockey. We're going to miss you, Larry. Thank you for all the great stories you wrote. And by the way, just one last thing before we take a break. If you read anybody's article about Larry Brooks that has come out today, please read the two that are in the New York Post. One was written by Mike Vaccaro, who's been on this show, gifted sports columnist. Read his, and Molly Walker, who is now the Rangers beat writer for the New York Post. And Larry Brooks became her mentor in recent years when she picked up the Rangers beat. And she wrote a very, very heartwarming story about Larry Brooks today. So you want to read those two stories. If you're going to read two, read those two that are in the New York Post today. Okay. And again, condolences to the Larry Brooks family. When we come back, we are going to be joined by a 4-time Stanley Cup champion, with the New York Islanders. Dave Langevin is going to join me here on Sports Bash when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny.
From the New York Islanders, number 28, defenseman Dave Langevin.
Back here in the Islander dressing room, this is what it's all about. The trophy is safely ensconced in the room now. Dave Langevin is with us. You've had a sip out of it. Congratulations.
It's super because, at the beginning of the series, there's a lot of injuries, and it just showed the character of this team to keep fighting back no matter how bad the odds were, and we never doubted ourselves, and again, we have the Stanley Cup.
How bad was the knee, Dave, going into the finals when you finally did return?
Oh, geez, every game it felt worse, and I was starting to get cramps in the knee and back of the legs, and the days off I could hardly walk, but who cares now? I could sit all summer now.
That's right, and enjoy it, my friend. Congratulations again.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday. As we came back from the break, you saw a couple of different videos there. One was from the pregame introductions for the 1983 NHL All-Star Game at Nassau Coliseum. As former Islanders defenseman now, Dave Langevin was introduced to the Nassau Coliseum crowd because that's where the All-Star Game took place that year. And then you also saw, after the Islanders won their fourth straight Stanley Cup, Dave Langevin being interviewed after the game in the Islanders locker room by Jiggs McDonald, who's the longtime TV voice of the Islanders on Sports Channel. And we are extremely happy to welcome to the show a four-time Stanley Cup champion who was part of all four Islanders Stanley Cup championship teams, a legendary Islanders defenseman. And we welcome to the show Dave Langevin. Dave, it's Peter. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Peter.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, well, no, listen, it's if you're, I joked at the beginning of the show that if the Islander fans watching are of my age or somewhere in that area, and they live through the Islanders Stanley Cup dynasty, and you look up in the rafters and you see all the names that are synonymous, you're in the conversation, because when a lot of Islander fans talk about those years, and I believe this too, I mean, that team was so good, but you were such an important part of that team on that blue line that sometimes even like some younger Islander fans may not recognize the name and not understand how much you meant to that team. But I'm sure you've heard over the years from Islander fans how special you were in a lot of people's hearts and how important you were to that team.
Well, it's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Because all the, everybody that's recognized, that was a long time ago for a lot of people, and all you hear about is the people that scored a lot of goals, and and that's who gets all the accolades. Well, I suppose it's easy to remember guys that score, but yeah, that we were a good team. That we had a lot of role players that I don't think we would have won 4 cups if certain people weren't there.
Well, it includes yourself. It includes, a guy like Anders Kaller that was on that team, and Thomas Janssen and Stefan Persson, who were on the blue line with you. Like, those are all names that maybe, again, some younger Islander fans may not understand or appreciate. But there was also this defensive side. Like, not only were the Islanders so good at scoring goals, and we're talking about guys like Bossy and Potvin and Trotty and all those guys that put the puck in the back of the net, but you don't win without playing defense, and you were as good defensively as anybody during that era. You had the nickname Bammer for your hard hits. So when you stepped on the ice for that Islanders team, you had that role that you had to play, and you did it well. So can you talk about that part of your game and being physical and how important it was for that team to have that element?
Well, I think that was part of my my makeup. I think when I was told that I played with fire, and that I came out every game, and gave 100%. And I didn't want to let my teammates down. This is difficult for me to talk about.
I can understand.
It's kind of like.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a lot of Islander fans are glad to hear your voice again. Just so you know.
Yeah, it's been. Well, it's like we're kind of all forgotten.
But you know what? The only thing I would push back on that, Dave, is that, again, like I said, most Islander fans, if they pass things down from generation to generation, people will know the names. And as long as people come to the games, they see, the Islanders are always showing videos on the Jumbotron of the old days, and I think the younger fans have come around to not just knowing the names that are already in the rafters, but names like yourselves and the players I mentioned before. So there is that appreciation that, a hockey team doesn't win a championship with just 4 or 5 players. It takes a team. And listen, that came from Bill Touring and Al Arbor too. So I imagine when you think back of your time with the Islanders, a lot of your success was based on the coaching also that Al Arbor and that coaching staff gave you back then.
Well, we had watching today's game is so much different than when we played. Mm-hmm. I think we had systems. I watch NHL games. And I try to figure out what are they doing. Well, it's very difficult because you watch every NHL defensive zone. You got 5 guys chasing the puck around, and then they make a pass across ice, and they score, and everybody looks at each other. How did he score? It's a simple fact is the defensive game, because I've tried talking to people about it, and they just, I don't know if they're aware of it, but, if you can't get out of your zone, what good is having all these high-priced forwards?
Right.
And I think it was kind of funny, when we had the 25-year reunion, Bob Bourne came up and he said we would have never won without the defensemen we had. And I never thought of it that way. I just thought that, well, no one really gives credit for the defensive game. It's always the offensive game. But I think that's what was the basis of our success. And
somebody had to shut down Wayne Gretzky. Dave, somebody had to shut down Wayne Gretzky.
Absolutely. And
right?
Well, and that's the part. The game today is everybody knows what to do offensively, but it's what you do without the puck that really matters.
Right.
And that is such a lost art. I watched goals against highlights, of all the teams, and every team has the same thing. Defensemen are lost. They don't know what they're doing. And it's so frustrating to watch it, and nobody wants to hear that there are solutions to this chaos in your defensive zone.
Right.
But it's and another factor that there's no hitting. I guess I would have had a different nickname if I played today, like instead of Bammer, maybe Bummer. I don't know. It would, because and that's another aspect that I think a lot of these players are roaming around with their heads down. I just look and I go, oh my God, that guy would.
You would have leveled him. You would have leveled him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you see some of these players cutting across the crease with their head down, and you say, "Oh my God!" I watch on TV and I get all fired up, and I say, "Oh God, I'm going to take that guy." And then what happens is they try to poke check it, and the guy scores. And but I don't know. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I think the players are treated better today than when we played. There's no I think everybody knew I had that bad knee.
Yeah. Well, we heard in that little clip when you talked to Jiggs McDonald after Game 4 against the Oilers in '83, and he asked you about the injuries, and you said, "Oh, you get to sit all summer long after you won the Stanley Cup." So I don't think some people don't realize just how banged up you guys were. Playing Edmonton in that 4th Stanley Cup final. And I was just talking to somebody about it this morning, and he totally forgot, but I remember this. Mike Bossy missed Game 1 of that final against Edmonton. And you guys were all banged up during that series. In fact, Wayne Gretzky and the other Oilers tell the story because, as you remember, Dave, when the visiting team would leave the Nassau Coliseum, they'd have to walk down that hallway past your locker room to go out to where their bus was. And every Oiler after Game 4, to a man, will talk about how they looked in and they saw you guys getting iced, that you were exhausted, and that you kind of taught them how to win for the following year. So talk about the resiliency of that team, not just the first couple of years, but the last couple of years of that dynasty. I mean, I think that showed as much as it did at the beginning as you guys were growing into that dynasty.
Yes, well, one thing we should have done is shut our door. So that Edmonton went to learn from us how to win because they beat us the following year.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why they probably beat us is we just ran out of steam.
Yeah.
And, we just, we had a lot of injuries. It just, you figure during that 4-year run, we had 2 years of Canada Cups in there.
Yeah.
So that means we were done at the end of May, and then August we had to go to our respective countries and train. So we maybe had a month off, and you really have to recover. Mm-hmm. And then so over those, I guess the 5 years or 4 years that we were at the finals, 5 in a row, we almost played 6 years of hockey.
Yeah.
And it was a physical league at that time. It was starting to maybe because of the some of the players like Edmonton and things like that, skating became more of a priority in the game. Well, also I think because of quality of players that were coming from Europe.
Yeah.
Was eliminating a lot of the 3rd and 4th line. I will call them enforcer players.
Right.
So the league was kind of transitioning into a more, I guess, not as physical, maybe physical, but not as life-threatening on the ice as it used to be.
It's definitely a different game. It's definitely a different game now. There's no question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the players, I go to a Wild game once in a while. I bring my grandkids, and then I'm just amazed at some of the skill, these different skills the players have today, just in regards to stick control, picking pucks out of the air, and passes, and but then again, if there was a 220-pound guy, as soon as you touch a puck's going to hit you, things will change.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good things. Too bad they couldn't combine. I think they do more in the playoffs, where all of a sudden the regular season's over, the players start getting physical.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, I'm kind of wishing we would have had more career, protection when we were playing than as they do now, because the injuries I had, there's no way I should have been on the ice.
Right.
But
that says a lot. It says a lot about you, and it says a lot about a lot of your teammates back then.
Yes, because we would. Well, yes. The thing is too, like my injuries, like my knee I had, I could play on it. And we're in the middle running for 4 Stanley Cups. You don't want to miss that.
Right, of course.
You know, you're not going to say, well, my knee hurts today. Can I sit out?
You didn't have load management back then.
No. It's just, you just want to win. You just want to, you're part of something that may never happen again. I find it very difficult that it could, but, you got Florida down there with 2 Stanley Cups, and everybody's counting them out, but I don't know. They're the defending champion, and they're the defending champion, so you never...
Right.
We never really got going until after Christmas, because you're still kind of, like Al would say to us, okay, like the first, second week in December, we started, so it'd be like in January now, we started later. He'd say, okay, you guys had your fun. Everybody trying to get your points and get your glory early in the season. He says, now I'm taking over. Let's get back to playing the way we won Stanley Cups with, playing good defense. And that's kind of funny. You talk about Torrey and Arbor, what they built. Isn't it something, though? Since they left, there isn't one GM or owner that want to emulate what we did with 4 Stanley Cups.
Well, the salary cap hurts now. There's no way, like when your team was put together by Mr. Torrey back in the day, and there were 16 players. You were one of 16 players that were on all 4 Stanley Cup teams. There's no way that could happen right now.
Well, I would have done what McDavid did and took less money.
Oh, yeah.
We were taking less money back then. Why change it? But it isn't so much the salary cap that it's just the identity of the team.
Right.
There, you can. Well, look at when Las Vegas came into the NHL.
Yeah.
They had nothing, but if you look at their style of play, they played like we did.
Mm-hmm.
They played very good defensively. They came up to go. They didn't have that long pass from behind the net all the way and just tip it in at the far blue line and then just give the puck back to the other team, and then they come back and also another team that I think Florida's team was kind of like ours last year.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's last year team was like us. They were grinders, physical. They had the mixture of good, talented players, good defensemen, goaltending, but they had a little edge to them.
Yeah,
that that you have to win. And I don't. In a lot of the teams, and then I think even a couple of when Tampa Bay won their 2 in a row, they had that same combination of edge and quality, and they played defense first.
Yeah.
And I think one thing you were talking about, us playing with injuries.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we said, it was kind of a thing on his team. You have to be willing to get hurt to win.
Right.
That means you're going to dive in front of a puck. Okay, I'm going to go in the, you're going to go get the puck as a forward, and you're 5'10", and you got a 6'2" defenseman going to crush you against the boards. Instead of bailing out, you make the pass and take the hit because that pass probably made a goal.
Yeah.
So it's again that it was built-in things on that team that I think and we made each other better. We knew that, as great as Mike Posse was and will always be, he couldn't do what I did, and I couldn't do what he did.
Well, that's what made that team so great. Everybody had their role, and everybody did it to the best of their capability. And you had Hall of Famers on that team up and down the line, and role players and physical players like yourself and the other guys that we talked about. And by the way, we're talking to Dave Langevin, the former Islanders defenseman, joins us here on the show. We have a couple of minutes left. Dave, I wanted to ask you about Matthew Schaefer. I'm sure you've gotten to see him a little bit on TV, the Islanders' first overall pick, 18 years old, and he's already made a huge impact on the Islanders, and really he's causing headlines all over the NHL with the way he is started as an 18-year-old. Have you seen a lot of him so far? What do you think of him and how he's helping the Islanders build into a winning team now?
Well, I think it's I think the basis of becoming a championship team, you start with defensemen. Mm-hmm. I'd say goalies and defensemen. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when they got Dennis Potvin.
Right.
They built around that. He's a different type of player than Dennis, but Dennis was more physical. But I think Schaefer's got the skill. He has the know-how. I just hope that they're trying to teach him how to play defense too. Mm-hmm. And he's not one of these defensemen that get 80 points a year and is a minus 200. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got no. Everybody, he's been a pretty good presence in front of the net as well.
Yes, yeah, because some of the games he's young. He's going to make mistakes. I see some of the highlights. I see him that he should have done something different. But then he does other things that are so good that it's a learning process. It takes a couple, 3 years to really become a good, solid defenseman. But that's why I'm hoping that he's getting some coaching that will kind of take some of those years of learning how to do it. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is just turn your head.
Yeah.
Because like Al said to us, he said, how do you know how to defend if you don't know what you're defending against? People just watch the game. As you're watching the game, watch the player's head. See if his head's turning, I always say he's got it under control. If his head's not turning, you just says, oh my God, what's going to happen next?
Right.
So it's just because, if you're looking at one guy all the time, you think it's a one-on-one, but then it's a two-on-one.
Right.
So I just think, it's a good start. I think having and I think it kind of, I think the GM was he was at Tampa, correct?
Yes, Matthew Darsh.
Yeah, well, look what defenseman they got there to that big defenseman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hedman, he's just, so there it is. You start with the defenseman, and you're just starting adding pieces. They have enough players that should score goals.
Yep.
And I just think if they build that defense, that's the foundation. He used to always come in and says defense. He'd come and talk to the defense. Says defense, you're the foundation of the team. And then I would say, well, what are foundations made of? Cement. Then he'd look at me all. He'd look at me, give me the shut up, Bammer look.
Let me just close with this, Dave. I know you have fond memories of Nassau Coliseum, but as you know, the Islanders have this beautiful new arena now, UBS Arena, and the new ownership is trying to build this into a world-class franchise like it was back when you played the All-Star game that you played in '83. Mm-hmm. It's going to be here on Long Island next year. I don't know if you've been to UBS Arena yet. I know a lot of Islander fans would love to see you. So is there intent for you to come here to Long Island and come see an Islanders game, especially next year when the All-Star game is going to be here?
Yeah, they send us out something for an alumni thing, but it just hasn't been working out. I will, maybe next year, it could be a special year, if they invite us, some of the people that played in the All-Star games. It was a fun time. I remember, just doing the game in front of our home fans. We got killed by the other team, but that again,
Gretzky had 4 goals in the third period.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I was in the stands. I still have my ticket stub and program from the game.
Well, my partner was Mark Howe, and I didn't understand what he meant by we were sitting next to each other. We were ready to go out, and he says, "Hey, Bammer, I'll see you after the game." And I couldn't understand. I says, "Oh my God, the whole game he was playing forward." He was trying to win the car, go up and get goals. And so I was kind of left down there all alone. And boy, when you let down, that was one of the fastest moving games I've ever lived through.
Yeah.
Just because you got the best players in the NHL freewheeling, going 100 miles an hour, and nobody cares about defense. And I'm sitting there, oh, Christ's sake, here we go.
They put the defensive defenseman in an offensive all-star game.
Well, yeah, that's why I didn't get to 20 goals.
Yeah. Dave, I cannot thank you enough for I know you don't do a lot of these interviews, but I really appreciate it as an old Islanders fan. I can't thank you enough for all the great memories. And I know when I announced that you were going to be on the show, there were so many Islander fans that reached out to me. They couldn't wait to hear you. And hopefully we get to see you at an Islanders game at UBS Arena in the very near future. We'd love to see you.
Well, and I really appreciate our fans. That was it was a special bondness we had with the fans and the players.
Mm-hmm.
I can still remember outside of Nassau Coliseum after the game, we'd walk out the side door and there'd be fans lined up after the game getting autographs, and you won't see that today. We were part of the community, and I really miss the Nassau County Coliseum feeling. Back then it was like neighborhood people coming to the games, and now the game is very corporate.
Yeah. Well, you still have the fans. The fans are still lining up outside. It's just it's a little different than it was back in the day, but you still see the fans waiting for the players to drive out, and they'll stop and sign an autograph here and there. Yeah. Well, you used to walk out. You guys would come up the steps, walk out, and the people were there. Now the players, they drive their car inside, and they have to drive outside, and the fans are lucky if the player stops for a minute and rolls down the window and sign an autograph.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were we were all connected to each other. It was and that's what that's what we talk about all the time, myself and my wife, Deb, that we still talk to a few people on Long Island, our neighbors, when we lived out in Fort Salonga, and, still have that connection out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to, I'm out someday.
Absolutely. We would love to see you, and I'm sure you'd get a huge ovation at UBS Arena if you came back. But thank you so much. It was great catching up, and hopefully we can do this again somewhere down the line.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Dave Langevin, the four-time Stanley Cup champion defenseman with the New York Islanders. We will not go to our break because we are late for our next two guests, and we're going to bring them on right now. And this is Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz. And coming up this Saturday, November 15th, Stotsky Park in Riverhead will be the second annual We Huddle to Help flag football game. And on Zoom with us right now, one of the organizers of the game. He is a terrific singer, Mark McLaughlin, and also a former NFL player and a Long Island native, Gary Brown. They are joining us here. Mark and Gary, it's Peter. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, Peter. How you doing, sir? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. You sound clear. Let me start with Mark first. Mark, tell us about this game. You started it last year. Tell us how this all came about and what the proceeds are for the game. Where do they go?
Well, thank you, Peter, first for having me. Am I okay? My volume's okay?
Yes, absolutely. You're good.
I do appreciate your platform, Peter. So last year, some pantries and locals came to me and said, "Mark, we can't keep food on our shelves. We're in need of food. Can you be of any help? When we keep running out as people come in." So I said to my guys, my friends over at the Riverhead Police Athletic League and the Riverhead Recreation Department, so let's put together like a fun day of flag football and have participants donate canned goods and non-perishable items in order to play. And with that being said, we got together, we held it. We had Mr. Gary Brown, who's joining us today, be a special guest. And I kid you not, the magnitude of support, the numbers of children and parents that came out to play, and the amount of goods that we raised, it was a complete success. So it was only right that we ran it back again this year, especially with the holidays coming and people still being in need. We just thought it was the right thing to do and to make it actually an annual thing. So we hope to have an even bigger crowd. We look forward to having an even bigger crowd this year because of last year's success, but even just the demand for resources in Riverhead, and not just limited to Riverhead, throughout Long Island and everywhere else. We do have different school districts joining us this year. They're coming in by the bus loads. So I'm very proud of this movement, this coming togetherness with our community and all the participants that have helped to make this happen, even with our Riverhead Lions Club that has girls playing this year with us. So I'm looking forward to all the fun, but also more important, I'm looking forward to supporting our community.
Absolutely, Gary. For you, as a growing up on Long Island and playing high school football, you went to Nassau Community College and went on to play in the NFL, and you've got a Super Bowl ring. What does an event like this mean for you to give back to the community where you grew up, and it's for such a good cause?
Well, that starts with the foundation. That was installed in me when I was young through my mom and dad. Always give back, always give back, always give back. And even now, me and Mark met through doing nonprofit work. I have my own nonprofit organization that shares with helping other nonprofit organizations. And it's very important because it shows people that no matter who you are or where you're at, whether you need help or you can help, it's good to do that. So it means a lot to me just to be a part of this. And this is kind of piggybacking off of what I already do, what I've been doing for 10 plus years. Thanksgiving's a big holiday, and we feed, through my organization, we feed close to 500-600 people. And to help Mark and Riverhead do the same thing, pantries are empty. People are in need, and especially in today's economy and all that's going on with government programs. And we're not going to get into all of that, but the need is there, and it's always been there. You know what I mean? It's just now there's a light being magnified on it. So the more we can do as a community, as a group, and as people leaning on each other, the better it is. So
Gary, as a player, are you going to play in the game?
If I could, I would. I'm actually doing pretty good with my health, but I've had a couple of spine surgeries, but I'm much better now than I've been since 2009 when I first injured myself. So I'm there for moral support. I'm there to cheer on, to sign autographs. I bring a bunch of autographs with me to make connections, to support anything I could do to make the event better than it already is. I'm in.
Mark, how can people who are not yet signed up, how can people get in touch with you and sign up for the game and be part of this great event on Saturday?
Well, I tell everybody you could call up the Riverhead PAL, the Riverhead Police Athletic League, and they'll give you directions. You could also follow me or go to my Facebook page, which is Mark MK. That's Mark M as in Mary, K as in kind, Mark with a K. And you could also Google it. We have News 12 as a sponsor, so you could Google We Huddle to Help, and it comes right up too. So we have numerous ways to find us, and we look forward to everybody supporting. I'm hoping to have you, Peter, next year be a coach or a commentator of some sort.
Saturday, as you know, Mark and Gary, I don't know if you know this, but Saturdays are kind of tough for me during football season right now because I have my older son Bradley as a college football player. So we've been running around the Northeast the last couple of years watching him play. But there's no question if it works out next year, I would love to be to be a part of it next year. Gary, let me just ask you really quick, because we only have a couple of minutes left. Did you grow up a Jet fan or a Giant fan on Long Island?
I grew up a Giant fan. You know,
Okay.
when teams are winning, that's kind of where you kind of tend to go to when you're young. But I'm a sports fan. So right now, if you ask me who I'm a fan of right now, of course, Green Bay, because that's a platform that keeps giving back to me. But I'm also just a fan of good athletes that with good intention, good coaching, and actually good systems. You know what I mean? Not all teams are the same. So the teams that look out for their players, I follow a little bit better than the teams that don't.
Gotcha. One last thing for you, Mark, and you know, we got connected when I was running that football team that never happened, and you were supposed to sing the national anthem at one of our games, and you were going to do a little concert. So I kind of wanted to give you the floor for a minute. If you have a new single out, or if you have any new piece of music, if you want to give us a little taste of it right now. You know, sometimes we delve into music here on the show, so I don't know if there was. I know you're not prepared for it. I probably should have told you this in advance, but do you have a minute on one of your songs if you want to do a little a cappella for us?
I'm always prepared, Peter, and thank you for the platform. I love the song Benny King, Stand By Me, and we actually created a house music version that's going to come up for the top of the year, so I'll give it to you.
Sure, there you go.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon's the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me.
Very nice. Good job. And I'll tell you, Mark has sung the national anthem at a number of different sporting events in the area, including the Mets. And we can't wish you, and along with Gary as well, enough luck with the game on Saturday. The best of everything with the second annual We Huddle to Help flag football game Saturday, November 15th at Stotsky Park in Riverhead. Registration at 11 a.m. The games are from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Mark McLaughlin, Gary Brown, thank you so much for joining us here on the show, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks. We'll talk to you soon. Hopefully you guys raise a whole lot of money on Saturday. We're going to run a couple of minutes overtime. We got to get through a couple of things. Time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Jet fans, who do you fault in the Aaron Glenn versus the Beat Riders battle? 4 choices. Aaron Glenn, Beat Riders, both are at fault. Neither it's entertaining. Tony, I voted neither it's entertaining.
I'm going to go with Aaron Glenn.
He should have...
Yeah.
You should answer the questions.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he should too, but I just don't find any fault in it because he's not breaking any law. So that's why I'm thinking, no, neither. It's entertaining. And it keeps the spotlight off the players, and Aaron Glenn puts it all on himself. Okay. Time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. It's this framed Matt Barzell autographed 11x14 photo. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Upcoming events: Islanders forward Emil Heineman on Wednesday, December 3rd from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Ripett Card Company in Cedarhurst. We have Met broadcasters Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, and Ron Darling Saturday, December 6th, 11 a.m. to 12:30 at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. Mets third baseman Brett Beatty Sunday, December 14th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. And I don't have the info, but you want to go on Coach's Collectibles on Instagram. I just saw the graphic for it today. I don't know what the date is, but Terry Collins, the former Met manager, along with the umpire Tom Hallion from that, when Terry Collins went nuts. So I didn't send you the graphic. I saw it, didn't copy it in time, but we'll tell you more about it tomorrow on the show. We'll tell you about that in just a second. But how funny is that Terry Collins and the umpire, RS is in the jackpot right now, and Terry Collins is yelling at him, you got to give us a shot. Where's our shot? That is so awesome. It was a classic rant by Terry Collins. The 4th annual Marty Lyons Foundation Evening of Thanks Gala tonight at the Bourne Mansion in Oakdale. Looking forward to being there. Tonight, the foundation will be honoring wishes granted in 2025 and members of the Marty Lyons Foundation family. There's going to be raffle prizes, a special live wish reveal. They did that last year, not a dry eye in the house when that happened last year. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. The John Thiessen Children's Foundation will hold their annual gala Thursday, December 4th at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. John Thiessen was on the show with us on Tuesday. The foundation is celebrating 34 years of giving. For more information, please visit jtcf.org or call 516-679-5098. Now, because we only had one show last week, 3 this week, we're going to have a special show for you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And on tomorrow's show, I'm really looking forward to this because my kids a couple of years ago started playing stickball. And I always heard my father and my father-in-law, may they both rest in peace, always talking about growing up, my father in the Bronx, my father-in-law in Brooklyn, playing stickball when they were kids. And the game kind of went away for a while. And now the last few years, there's a resurgence. And there's organized leagues all over the place. So we're going to talk to Ron Babineau, the former commissioner and president of the United States Stickball League. He is going to join us on the show on Friday, tomorrow. We'll talk about the history of the game. There's great photos of Willie Mays playing stickball, and you always saw him when he played for the New York Giants. Would always play stickball with the kids in the streets of New York. So we're going to talk to Ron on the show tomorrow. We'll talk about how the game is starting to have a resurgence. There's leagues and tournaments all over Long Island and the area. We're going to talk to Ron on the show tomorrow. And that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. Thanks to my guests, former Islander Dave Langevin, and also we just talked to Mark McLaughlin and Gary Brown. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Connor Calvin. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governors. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you for a special show here tomorrow, Friday, at 1 o'clock. Have a good day.